Hello hunters, DSK here, and welcome back to Minecraft. The last several episodes have been joke videos, and all before that we had a whole story arc. And this time, well, this series has a lot of story to it. And today, let's go over all of that, all the story, all the lore, all that stuff. I got a large script to read over that goes over everything within this series. Every detail, if I'm not mistaken. So, let's get started. The Sheep Kingdom. It was once a prosperous kingdom, but now it lies in ruin. It was once ruled by their leader Tay, alongside his wife Shelly. They had a son named Curtis. You know him now as the Sheep King. Their castle also housed two royal guards, Rift and Undera. These two brothers were the strongest sheep alive aside from Tay himself, and they did a great job keeping the kingdom and the clouds safe. That is, until they were all overwhelmed by Lord Farquaad's army of zombified piglins, who attacked without mercy. They killed all the civilians, the two guards, and Shelly. Curtis was saved by Tay, but then Tay was captured and was then tortured for years. They finally let him go one day, but by then he was mentally destroyed. His mind was broken, and he was unable to feel compassion anymore. He still remembered his peaceful days with his wife and son, but he didn't want to stay with them or make connections with anyone else anymore, as he felt it was only weakness after what happened to his kingdom. He swore that day that he would become the strongest sheep alive, rule all those below him, and sit alone at the top, where no one could reach him again. Once he got stronger, he would have pawns in the form of the sheep gang, and he even got the king who once tortured him to serve him. But Tay wasn't the only one affected by this catastrophe. Rift left his brother and trained alone for the next several years after that day. No one knows what happened to Undera, if he's even still alive. But Rift gained a lot of power, to the point where his potential was recognized by the Divine, and he was appointed as the God of Time. But soon, this power got to his head. He planned to use this new power to rule the dimensions, but his plans were halted first by Herobrine, the God of Death. Herobrine had his own plans. So, after stopping Rift, he recruited him to help him on his mission. Herobrine had planned to kill all the lowly mortals, to draw out the potential of those who were strong. After working with Herobrine for a while, Rift liked the idea of drawing out the power of mortals, and first created a demon from the darkness in his soul, known as Zin. He sent this demon out to attack the super flat plains, which eventually led to one of its locals, the Sheep Killer, joining the fight. He held off Zin's army of evil sheep rather well, but stood no chance against the demon himself. He was about to be defeated, until the god of war, Rocker C, showed up to save the day. Zin was smitten, and the two became the heroes of the super flat plains. Word of his bravery traveled far, all the way to Cherokee City, where many of his friends lived. Scully, the legendary assassin, was going to head there, but he was too busy with his current job of killing the rogue sheep. It was at this time that the sheep gang was running rampant, and Scully would stop them at every turn. He was hired to kill their leader, Tay, but he couldn't even find the sheep. Not that he would have stood a chance to begin with. After hearing of his brother for the first time in years, he decided to move into the town that the sheep killer had started building, the Meme Plaza. A few others moved in as well: Rocker C, Classical R, Junior, Roshan, Tinsel, Troopred, and the current mayor, the Icy Dragon. After Icy's retirement, MSJ Reach took the role as the second mayor of this grand city. He also appointed two security guards, Red Notorious and Redder Johnny. Scully didn't visit the city anymore after leaving, so it was up to these two to keep the sheep gang at bay. Soon after all that, a new face made himself known. It was the Sheep King, the lone sheep who was thrown over the edge by his father during the kingdom's attack. He survived the fall, but lost his memory. He was adopted by Pink Sheep, and was with him for a year. He spent a lot of time with his adopted brother Purple Shep, but one day the two abandoned the sheep, leaving him alone once again. He lived alone in the wild for years, until one day he heard of this sheep killer, and went to go see him. He didn't take too kindly to the kid who apparently killed sheep for a living, so he antagonized him a lot, and the two soon became rivals. They had a few scuffles, but the sheep killer always came out on top. Soon after, the Sheep King built his own home in the main plaza, and he even got a few roommates. Things were peaceful for a while, until one fateful day that would split the timeline in 3 ways. And in 2 of the timelines, the Sheep King became more popular than the Sheep Killer, and they beat him in their next fight, humiliating the Creeper. The Sheep Killer would then consider swapping bodies with the sheep using the Eyes of Ender, magical orbs that can grant any one wish. In one of these timelines, he does do this, but when he challenges the Sheep King again, he still loses. Their powers and identities are the same, it's only their bodies that changed from the swap. Angered at his failure, the black sheep stands in the middle of the plaza. His royal sheep blood boils, and his rage knows no bounds. Soon his power erupts, and he transforms into a form that unleashed all of the latent potential that this body has. He is Super Sheepy Pink. Instead of challenging the Sheep King again, he has another plan. He will look for the Time Stone. The Time Stone is one of the Infinity Stones, which are legendary artifacts created by the Divine, all of which hold special powers, and they could be dangerous in the wrong hands. The Sheep Killer wants to use the Time Stone to travel back into the past and undo his mistakes. When he finds the stone, he does just that. But when he travels back in time, he doesn't find himself back in the plaza, but somewhere else. He's in the void, alongside Rift and Herobrine. Rift had felt someone time traveling earlier, but was able to tell that someone else was planning to do the same, so he imprisoned him the moment he arrived, to see what this one was capable of. He sensed the immense power from the Sheep Killer in Curtis's body, so he decided to make him his slave. In the other timeline, the Sheep Killer decided against body swapping, and instead traveled to Cherokee City to steal a time machine to travel back in time. This was the time traveling that Rift felt earlier. Both of these Sheep Killers from different timelines ended up in the same third timeline. In this universe, the events of Curtis winning against the Sheep Killer never happened because of the time manipulation. So the Sheep Killer being enslaved by Rift, now known as Sheep Black, is now manipulated to join Rift in Herobrine's cause willingly. He is then sent to kidnap the person with the highest power level in Cherokee City, Redder Johnny. He returns with him, shows off his power to the evil gods, and then destroys the duplicate Time Stone by Rift's orders. At this point, the divine god Shaggy moves into the main plaza. Now the only god who hasn't been seen is the god of life, Gear. Shaggy also thinks about appointing new gods, those being Tinsel and Pico, but he decides against it for now. The Sheep Killer also discovers his future self, who tried to obtain riches from the Nether but failed when he was killed by the Wither, who was sent out by Lord Farquaad. Now the Sheep Killer is searching for the Eyes of Ender to make a wish, but not one of ill intent like in the other timeline. In this universe, it's instead the Sheep King who's pushed over the edge, and he's looking for the Infinity Stones to gain absolute power to rule the world. He's also amassed a sheep army in secret for the day that he gathers the stones. There are actually 6 stones, but he only knows of 3 of them, and he wishes to gather those. Rift and Herobrine hear of both of these endeavors, so they send Black out to stop them. He comes up with Project Zero Sheeps, a plan where he joins the Sheep Killer temporarily, while also providing intel to the evil gods. He helps the Sheep Killer gather the Eyes of Ender, and then the Sheep Killer wishes for an indestructible body. The two have a conversation, where Black reveals more about his past. Then Black says that he's leaving to kill some sheep, as part of the Project Zero Sheeps that he set up with the Sheep Killer. But in reality, that's not the purpose of this project, and he's actually reporting back to Rift. He's scolded for letting the Sheep Killer get his wish. Then when he returns, he properly moves into town. The Sheep King has 2 of the stones now, and the Sheep Killer's lucky diamond is the 3rd. When Black moves in, the Sheep Killer goes to sea, and he leaves the lucky diamond behind. Curtis steals it, and now he has all 3 stones. When the Sheep Killer goes to look for it, he has no luck. He does finally know Black's true origins. The next day, Curtis attacks the watchtower, and then the Sheep Killer, Roshan, and Black arrive at the scene. The now purple, the Sheep King, uses his powers to kill Sheep Black, and then he claims that he destroyed the Eyes of Ender so no wishes can be made to undo what he did. Now since he can't kill the Sheep Killer, He knocks him and Roshan out, then builds a prison and traps the two there. Now he prepares to destroy the town, but all of Dashikyo's friends try to stop him. Everyone fails and gets killed, up until Stully, Tinsel, and Pred arrive. They wipe out the Sheep army and nearly stop the Sheep King, but they came up short and get killed by Curtis too. Nobody who's died by the Sheep King's hand thus far can respawn, due to the divine properties of the Infinity Stones. So now there's no one who could stop him. The Sheep Killer, in his anger, transforms to a golden form. Its true name is Ultra-Charged Creeper, but it's jokingly called Super Saiyan Trump due to its orange-like color and its massive power, first feeling like a 1 million times increase. He and Roshan escape the prison, before they can challenge the sheep. Jeff, a robot created by the Sheep Killer, sacrifices himself. He blows himself up, taking the evil sheep and the Infinity Stones down with him. Now everyone is alive again except for Jeff, who can't respawn because he's a robot. In the bittersweet conclusion, the Sheep Killer plants a sapling originally given to Jeff as a gift at his grave. Now Curtis is in jail, guarded by Redditorians who just moved in. He's gone from the city and Johnny is missing in action, but future the Sheep Killer is now Martin's security guard, so the city is still protected. Soon after all this, Jeff is revived in the form of a tree, and Black is ordered by Rift to go on the attack. He gathers the remaining 3 stones, killing anyone who may tell the Sheep Killer of what he's planning. After he's done, the Sheep Killer finds him, then Black tells him of his plan, then goes back in time to claim the remaining 3 stones that were destroyed. He then builds the Obsidian Dome, reappears, and challenges the Sheep Killer to a battle with both of them at full power. The Sheep Killer prepares himself, then meets Black at the dome. The two fight, and though Black is much stronger, he loses control after using the power to transform into a monster. Because he's not fighting properly, but instead just going berserk, the Sheep Killer is able to win and save the day once again. Now Black is arrested, and Redder Johnny arrives at the plaza and becomes a prison guard just like Redditorius. Then Rift communicates telepathically to Black, and he's angry at Black's failure. A while later, the Sheep King catches on to what Black is doing. Later again, the Sheep King is freed from prison. Then one day, when the Sheep Killer is going around town talking to everyone, he asks the 2 guards where Johnny was, when he wasn't at the city or the plaza. Johnny remains silent, but then Black speaks up, revealing the truth to the Sheep Killer at last, about his work with Rift, and Johnny being kidnapped but then escaping after Black's second failed mission. The Sheep Killer demands Black to tell him more, but then he disappears. Rift brought him back to the Void, and there Black and the evil gods meet again. Rift now plans to attack these mortals directly, but then Herobrine backs out. Before leaving, he states, "What's the point of fighting a battle you can't win?" implying that he knows something that they don't. He leaves, and now Black and Rift prepare for their attack. Later on, they arrive with Johnny taken prisoner once again. The Sheep Killer and Roshan arrive alone, but Rift uses his magic to summon everyone else there. And then he awakens Tinsel's divine powers, turning him into Malice Tinsel and making him go berserk. Now a war breaks out, with the Sheep Killer and friends facing Black, Johnny, and Malice Tinsel. The Sheep Killer defeats Tinsel, Curtis defeats Black, and the others defeat the powered-up Johnny, with some casualties. Now that Rift has seen their power, he reveals to them his transformation into Full Metal Rift. Everyone is able to enter his metal body and deactivate him from the inside. This forces Rift to begin Plan X, fusing with Black to have a new energy source to be much stronger. Spawning more powerful monsters, he's able to kill everyone but the Sheep Killer, Roshan, the Sheep King, and Patrick. The Sheep Killer is pushed to its absolute limit, and he attains a new power, Ultra Instinct. He defeats Black Rift, but as they respawn, they're saved by Herobrine, who takes them to the Void. The Sheep Killer fell out of Ultra Instinct and is in bad condition. He's taken to the meadery, where everyone else is waiting. Shaggy explains what happened to him. His body couldn't handle the divine power of Ultra Instinct for long. Future the Sheep Killer arrives with a repaired Jeff, and he heals the Sheep Killer with a golden apple. Then Shaggy reveals that Black Rift is still active, and the Sheep Killer ultra charges and takes the Eyes of Ender. Curtis claimed to have destroyed them, but he was really just hiding them. The eyes can be used to open a portal to the Void, so the Sheep Killer does that and confronts Black Rift once more. He fights and defeats them again, this time imprisoning them afterwards. Now with the day saved once again, the Plaza now sees several months of peace. Those months later, many things have changed. The Plaza is much more developed, and Mr. Reach is no longer the mayor of Cherka City, but now a guard, alongside Notorious and Johnny, being replaced by future the Sheep Killer, who's now the 3rd mayor. And Shaggy leaves the mortal realm, making Tinsel and Pico into full-on deities, and appointing the Counselor Sheep before he goes. After those months pass, a new threat arrives. Tay has made his way to the main plaza. and there he begins Project Destruction, alongside Corey and Mansana of the Sheep Gang, Dr. Doofenshmirtz of Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated, and his former master, Lord Farquaad. Tay communicates with Herobrine, and hires the assassin deity to put the Sheep Killer through a trial, meant to both distract him while Tay's plans are put into motion and to get him killed once and for all. Roshan hears of this and tries to prevent the Sheep Killer from falling for the trap, but he fails to do so. The Sheep Killer takes on the trial, all while Tay has his meeting with the group. Black appears as an opponent in the trial, and once he's defeated, he appears alongside Tay and his group. Then Rift joins them as well, and it's revealed that True Pred is with them as well. After the ordeal with Rift, Pred disappeared from the plaza. Turns out he was jealous of Tinsel's new powers after losing to him in the sparring match that took place after the final battle, 1 month before this ordeal. After that, he left, and eventually found himself in the Nether, where he met Farquaad in his palace. And instead of killing Pred off the bat like he did the future Sheep Killer, he gave him a choice as he sensed the negative emotions inside him. Become his puppet, and get stronger, or get sent back to the overworld no different than he was before. Pred chose power over sanity, and became a slave to Lord Farquaad. Now he's in this group too, alongside the others. Roshan has once again heard about what they've been up to, and he decides to warn the others of the oncoming attack. Meanwhile, the Sheep Killer has finished his trial, and Herobrine reveals to him that this is a trap, and after showing off his sheep form, he prepares to smite him. But then, Gear stops him. The deities have been ordered by the council to not side with Tay, so Herobrine leaves. Then Gear heals the Sheep Killer, tells him all he knows of Project Destruction and the store of forms that deities can take. Rift has announced his betrayal of Tay, and then he calls his group to descend the tower and begin Phase 2 of this project. Sheep Gang and Tay are in their respective tents. Pred, Farquaad, and Doofenshmirtz are at their machine to be used at the project's final phase, and Black makes his way towards Rift. He has never liked Rift because he only ever went back in time to undo his mistakes, but was then kidnapped by Rift and forced to serve him. Rift is the reason he's evil, and he doesn't like that one bit. He goes to Rift now to beat him down once and for all. The Sheep Killer gets to Rift first though, and he Ultra Charges. He can't tap into Ultra Instinct at the moment, as he just used it in Herobrine's trial, so this is all he can do. It's not enough for Rift though, but then Black arrives in Super Sheepy Pink. The two work together and manage to push Rift back. Then Rift retreats to his old machine and turns it into Full Metal Rift 2.0, a more powerful version of his Full Metal body, this time with no need for an energy source and no entrances. Another name for this could be Perfect Rift. Sheep Killer and Black arrive to see this new form, and they come up with a way to defeat it. The Sheep Killer distracts Rift, while Black charges up an attack to blast his way inside the machine. Once they're both inside, they confront him once again, but now Rift is even stronger than before, and is too much for the unlikely duo. Meanwhile, Roshan has gathered Junior, Scully, Tinsel, and the Sheep King. They're planning a counterattack against Tay's group. Then Roshan and Tinsel set out to deal with Corey. Junior and Scully set out to deal with Mansana, and the Sheep King sets out to meet Tay. The two members of the Sheep King are dealt with, but the Sheep King isn't so lucky. Tay tells him of his true origins, and then kills him. Zin, the demon who was smitten by Rocker Seed, has mysteriously returned in front of Gear. He's looking for a fight, but Gear just paralyzes him. Also, Herobrine has gotten involved. He confronts Farquaad's group in an attempt to stop them. He takes down Pred, and then Farquaad commands Doofenshmirtz to activate the machine, the Max Powerinator, to summon a powerful entity. It is Water Sheep, the one more powerful than Tay, who Tay wishes to defeat. He kills Herobrine and Farquaad, and Tay shows up after dealing with his own son. He sees Water Sheep and challenges him, but then he just leaves. Now it's just him and Doofenshmirtz, who wait for their adversaries to arrive. Back at the fight against Rift, Black is pushed back. The Sheep Killer is pushed to his absolute limit once more. He taps into Ultra Instinct again and defeats Rift. The Sheep Killer and Black have captured Rift, and when they're in front of the prison, they meet up with Roshan and Junior, who have the Sheep Gang tied up. Scully and Tinsel already went out to search for Tay to help out the Sheep King. The three villains are locked up, and they decide to not put Black back in jail because he helped them out a lot. Roshan and Junior set out to find Scully and Tinsel. Black goes off to do his own thing, and the Sheep Killer goes off to fight Zin after sensing his presence. Zin is defeated. The Sheep Killer goes off towards Tay, forgetting to lock the demon up. After Sheep Killer and company are all there, seeing Tay for the first time. The final confrontation begins, and Tay tells them everything about his plan and his history with the Sheep King. Meanwhile, Curtis and Black have a talk about everything that's happened, and then they spot Zin, thrash him, then arrest him. Then they see Pred at the prison. ready to turn himself in for joining Farquaad a month ago. Black tells him not to do that though. Pred was in a fit of rage and someone took advantage of it, which is something that Black can empathize with. Also, he knows that since the Sheep Killer has forgiven him and Curtis, he'll definitely forgive Pred. All three of them then leave to do their own thing. Back at the confrontation, Tay tells Doofenshmirtz to activate the machine, but the Sheep Killer finds and presses a self-destruct button on it. This caused Tay to send Doofenshmirtz to the prison, and then he reveals that just about everything except this incident has been exactly how Tay had planned it. Now, after failing to recruit these guys into his forces, Tay powers up to 50% of his power, and the Sheep Killer powers up to 100% of his. Then they take the fight to the Obsidian Dome. Tay then kills Roshan Jr. instantly, just as he did to the Sheep King, and Tay's power overwhelms everyone there. Just then, Black and company arrive. They sense the battle, and decided that they can't afford to sit this one out. So they brought along the Icy Dragon and Rocker C. And now the battle begins. Tay summons some monsters that are instantly dealt with by Rocker C, and now Black plans to charge up a spirit bomb to defeat Tay. Everyone distracts Tay while he charges it. Everyone in the plaza gives their energy to this attack. It overwhelms Tay, and now he's defeated and arrested. Now the day is saved, and Black has turned over a new leaf. However, there is one loose end. Farquaad is on the loose now, since he was never arrested after being killed by Water Sheep. Later on, he sends his army to the Meme Plaza, and they destroy Scully's house. The army is defeated by Patrick and Sans. Patrick has been missing in action for a while. Turns out he was with Sans and Papyrus investigating some strange happenings in the universe by Pico's orders. They return to Pico, and Scully gets back to his house to see it destroyed. Scully is angered by this. Him and the Sheep Killer go to the Nether to find and defeat Farquaad. Meanwhile, another odd event occurs, which Pico's group doesn't notice as they're having a meeting. Zin's jail cell randomly opens, and he proceeds to defeat all three prison guards. Then he frees Doofenshmirtz and Tay from their prison cells. Tay disappears to do his own thing, and then Rocker C arrives. The two have a battle, and Doofenshmirtz escapes in the midst of it. Rocker C wins this battle, and Rift gets very angry at Zin for both not freeing him and then losing this fight. Zin no longer has any motivation and is smitten by Rocker C. While the Sheep Killer and Scully are in the Nether, Scully runs ahead while the Sheep Killer explores. The Sheep Killer finds illusions of the Sheep Gang, and he gets ready to fight until his future self arrives to fight them. He then fights through the guards until he meets an illusion of Rift. Black arrives on the scene and wants to thrash this clone, so the Sheep Killer moves on while he does just that. Eventually he makes it to the end of Scully. The two featured Sheep Killers have won their battles and went back home by this point. Now it seems that Farquaad has escaped to another dimension. But his beast, the Wither, is still here, which they have to fight in order to escape. So you fight and defeat this beast, which originally killed the Sheep Killer's future self, and now they head to the End Dimension, where the Sheep Killer fights the Ender Dragon, while Scully looks for Farquaad. The Sheep Killer slays the dragon, and he catches up with Scully, who has captured Farquaad. They take him to the prison, where they discover that Zin, Doofenshmirtz, and even Tay are gone. They learn of the strange supernatural events from Sans, and now they know of two future threats, Tay and whoever's behind these weird phenomena. Whoever appears first, everyone has to be sure that they are ready. And that's it. That's the entire story of Minecraft Creative so far, including full-on episodes and all the backstories and crud. Even to the most recent story events, they're all summarized here, so if you want to know the series but don't want to go back and watch previous episodes, this is the episode for you. And now, it's time for today's daily shoutout, because at the 10th episode mark, this is episode 70, which means it's time for a shoutout, and I'll just shout out an active viewer from my videos. Now, we're going to give multiple shoutouts today. I'm not going to do this every time, but there's been a few active viewers since episode 60, so we're going to shout out multiple. My first shout out is this person right here. They've commented a few times on the channel. Another subscriber here that we're going to shout out is you. They get a shout out. And the third person I'm going to shout out as well. So 3 people. And I could not fully put this person's name on here because it has a bunch of characters that I don't think are in Minecraft. So we'll just shorten it to Goldie. There we go. So Freddy Barnes, Kepson, and Goldie all get shout outs today. I might do this every time or I might not. But for today, there's 3 shout outs and those are the people. So if you want to get some daily shout outs, well, you don't ask. You should probably be an active viewer. Those are the only sort of things, though. Apart from that, it's all up to whether I want you to be on the shoutouts or not. But yeah, that's it for today's episode. Bit of a long one. This is going to take me a while to edit. But whatever. Hope you enjoyed. because I enjoyed making that script, and now we finally have all the Minecraft story up to this point in one place. That's pretty cool. And Scully's house has not been built yet. I don't know if it's going to be built in between this episode and the next. I mean, the house that got destroyed is fixed, but that's about it. It's vacant at the moment. So I don't know about Scully's house, if it's going to be built or not. We'll find that out next time, I suppose. Cliffhanger of sorts. I'll see you all next time on Minecraft Creative for episode 71. Will it be this style? Will it be joke video? Will a new story arc begin? That's for you to find out. There we go, more cliffhanger stuff to have you anticipating the next episode. I don't know why my frame rate's dropping a bit, but whatever. I'll see you all in the next episode. Happy hunting! Yeah.